Everybody, it's Sunday, February 17th, September 2011. My life was destroyed by Cipro for what they said was diverticulitis, which sulfameth or doxycycline could have given me that, but they gave me the most poisonous and toxic antibiotic ever created, and also the most profitable, because it destroys people for life and they come back for scans and surgeries and more synthetic pills. It's the perfect silent killer for the last 20 years. It'll probably never be exposed as much as it should. How many lives have been destroyed? People that have killed themselves because they didn't want to continue suffering, which is where it looks like I may be headed. But good morning. I'm a little upset. I screwed myself over yet again. I went on this anti-candida diet, and apparently carbs are allowed, but I didn't know that. I thought carbs weren't allowed. So for 1 week I went with no carbs, and I thought maybe it was candida die-off, but for days during that diet I was so fatigued. I had to lay down on my bed half the day. I would get up for a couple hours and then I would have to lay down for a couple more hours. Just this overall general sort of anemic, weak feeling, and I sort of, I believed all this hype that was going on. Not hype, but I should have known better than to deprive myself of carbs. So I think I was going through what's called ketosis, so your body has to switch over to a new system because it was saying, where the hell are the carbs? I'm starving here. So that sort of drained my whole brain and body, and it did something to where I've noticed that ever since then, my actual breathing is faster. My resting breath. When I exhale, I immediately inhale. There used to be a little pause in between. There's just shorter breaths. Not like I'm hyperventilating, but it's so frustrating, It's so frustrating, okay? For your breath to be altered like that, that's less oxygen that's getting delivered to me, okay? Which means my mitochondria aren't getting fed as much, and it's like everything, your breath. I can't control it, I lay down on my bed. I can't say as long sentences as I could have, and it's all from that whatever that withdrawal was that I'm already floxed, and I went through that, and I think it damaged my autonomic nervous system even more because I haven't been able to have a bowel movement either. I have to resort to an enema to get a bowel movement. I haven't had my own bowel movement in 2 weeks, except for a few, just a few, very small. And I've eaten so much. I've eaten pounds of meat, and I was eating meat and eggs, and I was still having this tired feeling. So to everyone out there, you need carbs. Some carbs. Just a little bit of carbs. At least I do. I don't know if you're different, but I don't think you're that much different that you can just go completely without carbs. Maybe the cavemen did it and adapted to it. Maybe that's why they only lived, I don't want to say that, but if you've eaten carbs your whole life, you need carbs. A low carb diet is good. Low carb, no sugar. And it's just made things worse. And I'm frustrated as hell because, hey, there was all this thought put into it. I'm going to get this oven, I'm going to get this so I can bake this bread, but I didn't bake the bread because I didn't think you could have carbs for the first week. So the first week I'm sitting there starving myself of carbs, and just now I've totally I've degraded my autonomic system. My breath has been like this for 3 weeks, And I know it was from that. I should have known I didn't have Candida. I had been popping all kinds of antifungals for my Lyme disease. The Candida would have been just getting assaulted left and right. I wasn't eating that bad to feed the Candida. I was at my mom's, but that was like 8 months ago. Well, that was like a year ago, even. And so I'm at a low place right now. I'm a very low place. I'm just so frustrated. I don't want to talk on the forums anymore because, I read all this stuff and I'm like, oh, this is what I could have been doing. This is what's really wrong with me, not this Candida. I never had Candida overgrowth. So that's all I wanted to say. Is I wanted to get that off my chest, and it's not going to get off my chest, and no pun intended, because I can't breathe properly. There's no pause, when you breathe out, you stop a little bit, and you breathe in, and then you stop a little bit, and you breathe out. There's no pause for me. It's just, this is just like, I can tell, it's worse, it's faster. Even getting floxed, that's one of the first things I noticed after I was floxed. I thought it was a Lyme disease, but it was getting floxed. Your breath, you don't have as much breath. It's like, call it air hunger. I don't know what it has to do with, I think it's your body just wants more oxygen and it can't get it. It can't utilize it like it should. Your oxygen utilization should be like 95%, 98%. But flox people, I'm pretty sure, people that flox badly, there's low utilization. Well, this is not, that's all I wanted to talk about, was that. Like, Candida this, Candida that. I didn't have any Candida. My issue is functional. It's all about functional, dysfunctional defecation. I can't empty my large intestine, or colon. I call it colon. That's my whole issue. It's always been my issue. But colonics aren't the answer because it's just a band-aid, it's just, you can't do a colonic every time you want to go to the bathroom. You can't do an enema every time you want to go to the bathroom. You can't do a suppository every time you want to go to the bathroom. You can't take a laxative every time you want to go to the bathroom because you will lose your sixth sense, is what they call it, and on gutsense.org. It's a good site. You'll lose your natural ability to go to the bathroom. And I'm talking to several people on the forums whose GI is just, they have to take laxatives. It's the only way they can go to the bathroom. And I don't know if it's lost forever, but mine is headed that way with all this dysfunction in my colon and spasm. You have to understand what it's like to lose your breath. I lost my breath, like by depriving myself, going into this ketosis, this shock. And now I've lost my breath forever, maybe. If you understand what that feels like, it's like, it's devastating. At the same time, I'm just more and more, I've never been this constipated, in years. So, have a good Sunday, everybody.